Welcome one, welcome all. Um, this is somewhat random, but I'm trying to get it on a regular basis live stream. Um, Trying to do weekends regularly. I have like a busy workload. Um, so weekends more ideal. Uh, oh, that's you see like a little fire on one of the streams. It looks like more dangerous when I'm looking at the screen. Almost thought someone else got caught fire. Let me just move that candle. Um, yeah, making this video, I just uploaded some content over at Rumble. Brought back a old character with a new series that I'm gonna be updating on my NatesVlogs.net page. It's gonna be a woke redneck page. I'm gonna have some of the old Cletus videos from my first channel, My Picks, over there, as well as some new stuff. Um, because I've been having issues with free speech when I try to post my traditional Netflix videos. I just try to give you my perspective, which usually ends up being right. Um, but I've been silenced by YouTube for pointing out some of the issues with the drug that they were directly funding and benefiting from. Because they're taking all that government money. They were started with government money, and yeah, they're working with the CIA, um, working with all of the worst intelligence agencies to silence people. And it might seem like it's self-centered for me to focus on the free speech because I've been affected by losing my right to free speech starting in 2014. I was the first time I lost the channel, my largest channel. I've been shadow banned ever since. Um, However, I'm fortunate they didn't Julian Assange me or Edward Snowden me yet, but there's some concerning decisions being made. They definitely crossed the Rubicon when it comes to free speech for certain people, like the people involved with the Uhuru movement out in Florida. They were arrested because they were accused of using Kremlin talking points for speaking out against police brutality that the American police state is inflicting on them, as well as our military killing millions of people abroad. For just like saying, "Hey, I take objection to what the U.S. is doing," um, they're being called Kremlin agents and being arrested for it, and that should be worrying all of the people watching because that means if you step out of line and you question anything your government does, they will call you a Kremlin stooge and lock you up. And one person who I hated for the large majority of about over 2 decades now, Tucker Carlson, someone who no one else really spoke out against. Like they celebrated him. He was able to go from CNN to MSNBC to Fox News. He had his pick of whatever network he wanted to work at. As long as he was celebrating all the wars, he celebrated the Iraq War, celebrated Afghanistan War, just any war you could think of. But as soon as he starts questioning wars, he starts questioning the CIA, questioning the forced medical experiments that companies like YouTube are all about. That's when he also gets silenced. The largest television following for news. I use the word news very loosely because I don't think you can get news from the TV. But he was the closest thing to it. He brought on dissenting voices, Jimmy Dore. He brought on the folks at Gray Zone, people like Anya Parampil, Max Max Blumenthal, uh, uh, Mate, um, Gabor Mate, and his son Aaron Mate. And it's just like, yeah, like he brings on these people who question the narratives that we're being pushed by MSNBC, CNN, and he gets taken off, and people celebrate it because now he's the bad guy because he started to go against everything he's been against or he's been for the past umpteen years. So it's just like it's kind of concerning because I've even had conversations. We had like I got this class we were discussing media bias, and we were talking about different topics, and then the topic of um, Tucker Carlson came up, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, screw him. He's not real news. Fox News is all bad." Which is, yeah, I can agree. Yeah, Fox News is pretty fucking bad. Just like MSNBC, CNN. And over the past few years, MSNBC and CNN got way worse. Um, but it's just like how people can just casually accept silencing whatever dissenting opinion. Uh, it boggles my mind, because you don't counter a bad opinion with silence. You don't silence those people. You just provide a better alternative way to view the stuff that they're talking about. But like in the Revolution the musical, um, the people in power are running out of lies, uh, they don't let us question. And now you can't question shit. You just better shut the fuck up and take whatever they give you, whether it's a experimental medication, robot dogs, war, poisoned water, whatever it is. You just gotta accept it. I'll get off the soapbox for a minute to respond to some of the stuff. Hey, hi my friend, how goes a hero? And welcome. Something wrong with the audio because I can't hear you. Is anybody else having that issue? That's like a long diatribe for me to go on without like being heard. I can hear you now. Well, that's great. Groovy. Well, I've got some worse news for you, my friend. The anti-TikTok bill is not a TikTok ban. It's more like a First Amendment ban. Yeah, that is the Restrict Act. They're restricting your freedom of speech. Like here's how fucked up America is, right? We don't have like freedom of accessing healthcare, even though we subsidize all of these big pharmaceutical companies. We subsidize all these big insurance companies that deprive us healthcare. We need healthcare, not insurance. Um, we don't have a right to housing. Like we don't have a right to anything that we need to survive. Clean water, you don't have a right to that. Your water's being poisoned. Even if you drink bottled water, the bottles are usually in plastic, and you get nanoplastics and all that shit. And the plastic that they use is a byproduct of the petrochemicals. So it's like the oil we go to war for. They our medicine is based on petrochemicals because it's easier to patent derivatives from petrochemicals instead of like natural stuff. If we had nature-based medicine, it's harder to patent. So a lot of these companies that are tanning our hides on these prices, yeah, they wouldn't be able to make as much money, and they shouldn't be able to make any money. Like you shouldn't be. Medicine shouldn't be an $umpteen billion industry because it's not like all that money is going to the people who give you health care. Nurses go on strikes all the time, doctors go on strikes all the time because the people at the top are the ones who are robbing us, right? Um, and they're also the people who are in control of our media because I mean, in no other country except for like New Zealand can you advertise medications because yeah they're like incentivizing you to ask about their particular drug, which is usually new because they want you to buy something under patent, right? And it has a high likelihood of killing you. Pfizer has had to pay out the most fees from lawsuits more than any other company, right? My personal experience with it, I don't know if it was exactly Pfizer, but my dad had this medicine that he was using for his allergies. Like it was like a, something he would like put in his nose, and kind of like a Flonase situation, but it wasn't Flonase. But like they ended up, uh, um, the drug he was using ended up becoming generic. So his doctor incentivized him to use this newly patented drug, and it took away his ability to smell. He used to bring me over to his house to smell his fish and milk, make sure it didn't go bad. Um, he ended up getting like a little chunk of change from a lawsuit. But like, yeah, he had to lose his smell, and he had to like get this ineffective medicine that didn't help. And he had to pay more for it. And it's like, why are we doing this? Why is this? How does this make sense at all? He had something that worked for him for years, um, but they pushed him on to something that was more profitable, that took his ability to smell, right? And that's kind of what Pfizer does. They sell drugs that they know will give you heart issues, and I'm not even talking about the vaccines. They had to settle what for a few $1 billion for, I think it was Vioxx. I think that was their drug, or it was like they had one of the drugs that was like giving people this heart condition that they knew was prevalent for the people who took the drug, but they let it go to the market anyway, because they don't give a shit about you, and they know that they have so much power that none of them will go to jail. Even if they get a little fine, they pay a fraction of their profits that they made from the drug that killed all those people, right? Um, but now they're extremely protected, um, and it's just, yeah, like, and they have the ability to silence people. Um, I Tucker Carlson was speaking out against the pharmaceutical industry and the control that they had. I'm not saying that's definitely why he got taken out, because he was also speaking out against the wars. He was speaking out against a lot of juggernaut industries, too big to fail, because they're being sponsored by our government directly. In other words, fascism. So it's like, yeah, like they're so connected to the government, they can never fail. Like, even if you stop buying their products, they're going to get your money. They're going to get those taxes. Then they're going to hide those taxes in some tax haven. The new Jeffrey Epstein is going to be taking their money, laundering it. So some other country is going to be profiting off of it. I can't express this enough. Um, Corporations need to be destroyed. Um, the English, they took over India with corporations. The world's largest corporation at the time, East India Company, killed hundreds of millions of people. They created the slave trade as we know it. Poisoned all the water, poisoned the air, uh, and they did it. They created caste systems, that so people could just like, like people who benefit from the system a little bit, they could continue to enforce it, even though the people who created the system, like, they don't give a shit about any of those people. That's why they're poisoning your water. And now, like, all of the world's largest corporations, they're based in America, and then they usually pay taxes in Europe. Ireland is a fun tax haven for the big American industries. Facebook, they keep their money over there. I believe Twitter does as well. So it's like they steal this money from us, and then they only pay taxes. They steal our taxes and pay taxes to European governments. It seems like the British scam of like creating corporations to loot the economies of nations, it never stopped, and we are like the tip of the spear for enforcing it. We enforce our banking system. Our Federal Reserve is a corporation itself. It's not like run by. It sounds official, like Federal Reserve. It sounds like, oh man, that must be a part of the government. Nope, independent corporation, installed by Woodrow Wilson, who was a bitch to Europe. Um, and now we got other banking bitches, and all of these people, like, they need to be like taken to prison for treason. Um, it makes no sense why we continue this system. I mean, it benefits no one, or you can say 0.001% of the people who are in the country actually benefit from it. I've been following your videos for more than 5 years. I love your content. Well, I love you for sticking around so long. Yeah, 5 years. So that was after I lost NatesVlogs, but before I lost NatesFlix and my picks and Nate's turn. So I appreciate that. I don't know which video got you into me, but I'm grateful nonetheless. I got some worse news. Ron DeSantis signed a bill that would limit people's free speech in Florida. That's just a trend. We gotta get up, stand up for your rights. I mean, I'm still waiting for the French style revolution. They got the idea. They went into BlackRock because they saw BlackRock going after their pensions. They saw BlackRock just eroding their way of life, privatizing all these industries, and the French people caught on and they were like, "You're the problem. Let's come together with all these French people, even the people who I vehemently hate in other circumstances. We have like the same bad guy who is coming after us, right? It's really just humanity versus corporations. So when you watch corporate news and they want you to hate Russians or the Chinese or whatever country they want us going to war with, you need to keep in mind, love all people, hate all corporations. Corporations should not exist. They're robbing us blind. They're robbing us of our wealth, health, and futures, right? So it's like, they want your retirement. They want everything that you have because what can you get with $1 billion that you can't? What can you get with 2 billion you can't get with one? Most people like you get 1 billion, like you just run out of things to buy, right? But we're talking about people who are Bill Gates is scheduled to be a trillionaire before he dies. A trillionaire. What do you need $1 trillion for? Like how many sex rings do you have to be caught funding before people just start saying we don't want to give you any more of our welfare? Why don't we stop giving you this welfare, lock your ass up, take your money, and like take care of our homelessness epidemic? Like like they're just like in our face, funding biological weapons labs, killer robots, just mechanisms of controlling us for when they just fully just take the mask off, stop pretending they're not evil, and just start doing the pinky, like, I'll take $1 trillion. Like, it's just like, when is enough going to be enough? I mean, I would love to, once I see people, I don't have enough for plane tickets to go and run up in the Fed. But if y'all decide to like go into that corporation that is in control of our money, starting all these wars, keeping you impoverished. Once y'all go in there, I'm sure y'all find some loose change. Y'all can send me some money for a plane ticket, or I'll get there however I can. But yeah, that's like the epiphany the Americans need to have for us to start living a better life, living our best life. Start investing in technology that can take the poison out of our water and use that to fuel cars and your house and all that shit. If you read the bill, the thing limits free speech. Yeah, they don't give a shit about free speech. We don't have a right to house. We don't have a right to anything. You just got to just shut the fuck up. You will have nothing and you will have to pretend to be happy. So says Klaus Schwab. Yeah, it's well, I try not to be. I don't want people to be too demoralized, because I do believe there's hope. I know there's hope. I know there's change in the air, but yeah, it's going to be a fight for us to get the rights we need, and I'm just gonna take off the Facebook. Oh shit. Oh my goodness. I thought I was live on this shit and I'm like, nobody on Facebook. I was about to just do a live employee evaluation real quick. Let me just three. It's gonna be a quick. Hello, people of Facebook. You are uh sorry I was excluding you guys from the conversation because I do believe Facebook at this point is my largest platform since I lost, my largest YouTube channels. But it's not that I want to actually use Facebook, but I definitely want access to the viewers over there. But if you're following me on Facebook, I'm gonna send my Rumble information because I'm gonna be streaming all through. This whole stream is going to be on Rumble, and it's going to be the best camera angle, I think. I'm not looking at it because I can't see the comments currently, but hold on, copy link. But I'm about to get off of Facebook and use this. Hey Nate, what's up? Well, yeah, we were talking about free speech because, yeah, I was like, I didn't start the stream on Facebook, but, yeah, like they recently arrested people involved with the Uhuru movement. And I don't know if you know about my history with free speech, having my rights taken and all that stuff. My way of supporting myself for over a decade taken away from me at the hands of the criminals who run YouTube now. But yeah, the Uhuru folks were silenced and they were accused of working with the Russian government, all because they were against police brutality and the military killing millions of people abroad. So they're not now being against our government is considered a Russian talking point, and you can get jail time for it. And that's concerning. And someone who spoke out against the Uhuru folks being arrested was Tucker Carlson, surprisingly, because I grew up with him being just a big racist piece of shit, pro every war, just totally vile, disgusting excuse for a human being. But all of a sudden, he's the only person speaking out against this travesty against people's First Amendment rights. And as soon as he starts speaking up for the oppressed, he gets treated like the oppressed, and he loses his news program. I use that phrase loosely because most of what he said throughout his time on the news hasn't been news, but he also has a video of him saying that he regrets a lot of what he did. I ended up dissecting that. It was a comparison of Tucker Carlson and Jon Stewart, and I go back to like an old ass interview that they had back in 2004, and I compared it to where they are now. How Jon Stewart is giving out medals to Nazis. He's like, giving a tongue bath to Hillary Clinton and Condoleezza Rice, like they are the paragon of democracy. Since the Republican Condoleezza Rice and the Democrat Hillary Clinton can agree that Trump is bad, that means that, all of our issues are over because like they agree on something. But it's like they're two war criminals who should be locked up. Yes, lock up Trump too, but lock him up for the same crimes that Hillary Clinton needs to be locked up, killing people in droves and stealing their resources. And Hillary Clinton, it goes even further because she, when the Haitians had their earthquake back in 2010, Hillary Clinton went over there not to help them, but to drive down their wages, put their gold in her brother's name, just rob them, loot them, kill them. I talked to someone at a party. I'm not knocking him, but the system he worked for, because he was in the military, and one of his jobs was shooting down the protesters who were showing up to speak up against the coup that our government perpetrated on them. Right, Haiti was the first country in the continent um, to abolish slavery, and they were punished. They had to pay for their own fucking slaves, their freedom. Like they were, the French government charged them for the money they lost from their slave racket, and then banks like Citibank continued to extort money from the Haitian people, and Hillary Clinton played a major part in that. Just the evil human being. Are you streaming on Rumble yet? Yeah, I'm streaming on Rumble. That's the just verify that you got it, because I'm gonna do I got some videos on this computer that I'm gonna be putting on my TV, so we could do like a little live employee evaluation. So just let me know when you got that, and then we're gonna end the Facebook stream. And one of the things Rumble has got to figure out is how to allow me to get my fucking comments while I'm streaming, because I got to use a different app to stream on there, like a streaming app. And if someone says anything, I don't know. So I'm sorry, can't engage. But I give you guys the best angle, or it's the most, like you're going to be able to see the entire screen. Even if I get over here, like, not everyone else in the stream can do that. So rumble.com. All right, so you got it. I'm just going to assume that's a yay. All right, because I'm about to end the stream. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2. See you over there, Bear Tsunami. Because and that's I just would actually like confirmation that this stream is up and running, though, because sometimes I have had technical issues where I thought I was streaming and it didn't pop up. All right. But I guess, I don't know how many devices you are on. So I'm just going to assume you're watching on your phone and you're on Rumble. So thank you, Facebook. If you show up later, I'll still be streaming over here, maybe, or you can find the post stream over on Rumble. All right, yeehaw. Fuck. Here we go. Now, one of the things that really just chaps my ass, the Uhuru movement people, they had like some pretty fucking just no dub positions when it comes to war. Like, we're spending trillions of dollars on these wars that get us nowhere. They make the world hate us more. The military is the number one polluter in the world, right? My niece is at a military base in beautiful Hawaii, where the water is totally toxic because the military base was dumping jet fuel in there, right? Both my parents worked at military bases that were knowingly poisoning them, right? My mom died when I was 12. Both my parents died of cancer. And then like the insurance they got from working from the military denied them the necessary services they need that could have prevented them from having their cancer metastasize, right? So the military doesn't give a shit about you. Like they want you to kill the people they want to die, and then they'll gladly allow you to die from cancer because that's why the military members have a higher cancer rate. My parents aren't like the exception to the rule; they are the rule. You know that's how they view you. They view you as a grunt, and they want you to die for their country because they think they own you, right? So I say all that because this is particularly disgusting. Like, like we have worthy and unworthy victims, right? Ukraine, they're considered worthy victims because they're Nazis, and the ones that we're funding directly, the ones that are in bed with Joe Biden, because he gave eulogies at Klan member funerals because he's a piece of shit. Donald Trump, I'm not trying to take any of the negativity directed at him away from him. A good amount of that is deserved, but Joe Biden is worse. I would never vote for either of them. I don't fuck with the Republicrats. I was tricked by the Democrats one time. Barack Obama's first run, I thought he was going to be giving us health care for all. Found out he was a liar. I didn't vote for him again. So they fooled me once. Shame on them. That's why I always say it. But this is someone being called out for the hypocrisy of the U.S. when they wag their finger at Russia for going into Ukraine after we couped the Ukrainian government and started killing thousands of Russian speakers in the Donbass region. The Russians ended up just saying, okay, enough is enough. They had a special military operation. That's why you can't really call it a war because the war started in 2014. But this was someone with the United Nations being called out for the hypocrisy. And I found it pretty interesting.
Do you think the presence of the U.S. military in Syria is illegal or not?
That's not an issue that we're dealing with at this stage. There's been a war.
But is that because it sounds very familiar. This week we talk a lot about the UN Charter, the international law, and relative resolutions. But it sounds to me a foreign presence, foreign military-based presence in another country without invitation sounds like something else to me.
Yeah, it sounds pretty fucking identical to what they're saying Russia did that was so bad. It's actually a little worse in Syria because their primary focus is on the hydrocarbons, the gas, and the food. So they're going after their energy and their food sector because they want all of that shit into these private corporations' hands, right? We need to be nationalizing our energy like Russia. They have nationalized energy. Venezuela does. That's why we hate those countries because they have the threat of a good example. If we had war for oil, if we had a nationalized energy section, wars for oil would make more sense. I'm saying I still wouldn't do it, but it would make more sense because like you go to war, you get like a direct benefit. But we put the shit in the hands of like these companies, BPs and the Shells and the Chevrons. And I worked at those chemical plants before I got on YouTube. Deadliest fucking places to work. I was talking to someone who worked at a chemical plant recently, and they were telling me that their bosses told them that we're preparing for war with China. And it's just like. No, I was trying to tell her like, you need to put the precedence of humanity over corporations and these profits. They don't give a shit about you. They're poisoning you knowingly. They'll have it like there was a ConocoPhillips. They blew up a whole city in Texas without giving a shit. They'll put us all in danger. They'll have like these dangerous spills like they had in Ohio, nuking the water supply. They don't give a shit about you. They need to be nationalized. And then once we do that, like we take away their ability to make all that profit, we realize that we have way better alternatives to the dinosaur fuel. You know, like the same people who had us going to war for spices, for salt, right? We kill people for salt. That's what maybe that's where the term "you're being salty" came from. But like once we realized we had more salt than we'll ever need because we could find the salt when we found these petroleum pockets, right? Then the people who had us going to war for those resources, they were like, okay, we'll use this for energy. Nikola Tesla had different energy types in mind: free energy, regenerative energy, and then he died poor, and because the monopolists they need us to get on like resources that they can control, and they view other countries as living on their oil supply, so they will use our military. They will have us go risk life and limb to steal their shit, and then they had people like me processing those chemicals, exposed to them. You know, I mean that has negative effects on your health, and some people, and I'm lucky because some people were in that explosion. Um, I ended up being jumped the week I was supposed to start, and there was an explosion that same week. Nobody got killed in that explosion, but for all I know, that would have been me. I've been like just trying to find a place of my own, just like chill, and been like just blown to smithereens. He was a fallen messiah. I love NatesVlogs on YouTube. Well, right back at you. I have to come back in a minute after I call my meal. Well, yeah, give me a meal too. I need a few meal. I don't need any more than 10 million. Then I'll show these billionaires how to live off the interest of 10 million. And I think I'm joking. It can be done. That's $500,000 a year.
I'll leave your analysis to you. There's at this stage.
What's the difference between Syria, the situation in Syria and the situation in Ukraine?
There's no U.S. armed forces inside of Syria.
There's no U.S. armed forces inside of Syria. That's total bullshit. I got another niece who's in the Air Force. She was around that whole area. She was in Turkey when they had a coup back in 2016. And it was our government pushing for the coup. And then, this was, I don't know how many people are well versed, but it was like they were held hostage, U.S. Military personnel. And my sister was like, let's pray for her, do all this shit. I'm like, why are we praying for her? She shouldn't be in that place in the fucking first place. You know? And it's, most of my family's in the military. I'm a soldier of love. My dad was trying to get me into it. I was like, nah. He was like, you just needed to go to school. You'll be cool. It's not like we're going to start a war. And then 9/11 happened my senior year. So, yeah, that was kind of bullshit. We had military recruiters outside of my school all day, every day, before 9/11, especially after 9/11. And they were just like, yeah, this is your only way out of poverty. Come on, sign up. Come on, just become a cannon fodder for the empire. You can kill some brown people and get a house. It didn't appeal to me, but all of my other siblings, that's their thing. I got a brother, sibling who's retired warden. I just, I don't think you could take one of those jobs without it affecting you personally, because that's just one of those things that chews up your soul. You can't like be around people that are constantly dehumanized by you and then just not take that home. So, the siblings who are in law enforcement, they're the most fucked up ones. Just genuinely evil. I say that like I think there's been growth. I like to hope because I had one of the siblings who was a parole officer. She retired too. you know, she didn't do, last time I saw her, she wasn't doing some of the same stuff she did. Maybe it has to do with her retiring, getting out of talking down to people. But yeah, it's yeah, the military doesn't give a shit about you uh, to the to you know, outside of the extent that they could use you to further their agenda. They will kill you, discard you, not give a fuck about you, deprive you health care. Most of high percentages of those homeless people you see are veterans that have been discarded. You know, they probably turned to drugs because they were trying to deal with all of the shit that they saw that they had to do for money. You know, who knows? But this is the scumbag. He's like, you know, he's trying to make it seem like we're our military is so noble. The people who are sending them out to kill and steal these resources in Syria, um, they're the good guys.
So I don't have a. It's not a parallel situation.
You're sure that there's no U.S. military personnel?
I believe there's military activity.
Yeah.
But in terms of ground presence in Syria, I'm not aware of that.
Okay, 5 U.S. service members were injured in that attack. If there were no U.S. service members in Syria, how could they got injured?
That's a good question.
That's weird, right? Should I ask you about that?
Yeah, continue further that line of questioning. But yeah, we won't see anyone asking these kinds of questions on the news. They just kind of get in line, rah rah, go military because they're funded by Raytheon, Boeing, Northrop Grumman. Like they get trillions of dollars in welfare from us, and we definitely need to have. It makes no sense to me why, you know, like they're cutting fucking food benefits, they're cutting health benefits, they're cutting all these benefits for people who need shit, while these assholes, the big military contractors, big oil contractors, all of these corporations that are connected to the government, who any company that has lobbyists, basically, because they get money in welfare, they get trillions of dollars in welfare. The corporate welfare far exceeds anything that you and me could ever get, right? People get way more money than they can ever spend. Like the people who you see with hundreds of billions of dollars got guaranteed government contracts. You can guarantee it. They're not selling like 15 billion copies of a book. Maybe J.K. Rowling, you know, she's a billionaire. I might be willing to let her keep her money, but we need to put hard fucking limits on these welfare checks. You know, like Microsoft, Google, they get umpteen billion-dollar contracts, and the people running them, they have more money than they could ever spend. And it's like it's never like they have one year where like they have less money. They always have more money the next year. It's not like they like, oh, I got 20 million short this year over from last because I wiped out world hunger, and I, you know, gave a house to all of the homeless people. It's like, no, they have no imagination. They just like, they need more zeros than the people in their circle. And their circle is full of psychopaths. That shit needs to be, and this is one of the reasons why Tucker Carlson was taken off.
So not long after, Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey Oswald on camera in the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters.
Now, I'm no fan of Tucker Carlson, right? But that being said, I'm a fan of anybody or any segment that calls out the CIA, like the evil that this organization has inflicted on our country. They are traitors to this nation. They were started with other intelligence agencies from Europe, like MI6, because they wanted a way to control our nation from the inside and make it seem like a democracy. So, you know, like they were lying to all of our presidents, like JFK. That they got him in the, you know, they did the Bay of Pigs. They were trying to, what is it, Operation Mongoose, which is when the CIA, they planned on killing American citizens to blame it on the Cubans so we can go to war with Cuba, right? evil. And then once JFK started being like, hey, these motherfuckers are lying. Let's disband them into like 1,000 pieces and scatter them into the wind, right? That's when his brains ended up just like flying out of his head for some reason. And then the dude who was in charge of the CIA that he fired, Alan Dulles, he was also leading the Warren Commission that was looking into President Kennedy's assassination. And then, his brother ended up running. His brother also got killed once he got the Democratic nomination. Now, RFK Jr. Is in the running. And I celebrate him getting in because, he's got a history of fighting these corporations that we need to overthrow. I think he dedicated himself to that because he realized that the CIA, they are like just the corporation's invisible army. The corporations who run them are the ones who are really just incentivizing. They're creating the incentive structures for us to continue to be raped and pillaged. But this was a segment that I enjoyed
A lot of Americans
watching.
started to have some questions about the Kennedy assassination. It was, you'd have to admit, a pretty extraordinary sequence of events. A lone gunman murders the President of the United States, and then, less than 48 hours later, that lone gunman is himself murdered by another lone gunman. What are the odds of that? It's one thing if you get struck by lightning, rare but possible. But if every member of your family also gets struck by lightning all on different days, you might begin to suspect these are not entirely natural events.
Maybe.
But, replied the U.S. government, they are. This bizarre chain of killings was all entirely natural. So less than a year after the JFK assassination, the Johnson White House released something called the Warren Commission Report. And the report concluded that while their motives remained unclear, both Lee Oswald and Jack Ruby had acted alone. No one helped them. There was no conspiracy of any kind. Case closed. Time to move on. And many Americans did move on. At the time, they had no idea how shoddy and corrupt the Warren Commission was. It would be nearly 50 years before the CIA admitted under duress that, in fact, it had withheld information from investigators about its relationship with Lee Harvey Oswald. But even then, at the time, before that was known, the government's explanation didn't seem entirely plausible, and some people started asking obvious questions about it. It was at that point, as Americans started to doubt the official story, that the term conspiracy theory entered our lexicon.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Conspiracy theorists usually means you're onto something. That's why I compare conspiracy theories to like gravity theorists. Gravity is just the theory. It's all relative. Different people experience different levels of it. You don't have to see it to kind of know it exists. It's out there, right? When you're a crackhead like Hunter Biden, and you're able to get funding for biological weapons labs, and you're getting jobs that bring in millions of dollars. While after you were kicked out of the military for your coke addiction, and you're fucking your your dead brother's widow. Like, I just think that's a sign of some kind of a conspiracy. That's some super nepotism. But the CIA created the term conspiracy theory to discredit people who are questioning their obvious conspiracies, conspiring against us.
Professor Lance Smith points out in his book on the subject, the term conspiracy theory did not exist as a phrase in everyday American conversation before 1964. In 1964, the year the Warren Commission issued its report, the New York Times published 5 stories in which conspiracy theory appeared. Now today, of course, the term conspiracy theory appears in pretty much every New York Times story about American politics. It's wielded, now as then, as a weapon against anyone who asks questions the government doesn't feel like answering. But despite 60 years of name-calling, those questions have not disappeared. In fact, they have multiplied with time. And here's one of them. In April of 1964, a psychiatrist called Louis Joylin West visited Jack Ruby in his isolation cell in a Dallas jail. According to West's written assessment, he found that Jack Ruby was, quote, technically insane and in need of immediate psychiatric hospitalization. Those are conclusions that, puzzlingly, no one who had spoken to Jack Ruby previously had reached. Ruby had seemed perfectly sane to the people who knew him. Louis Joyland West pronounced him crazy.
He was
But
the CIA
what
too.
West did not say was that he was working for the CIA at the time. Louis Joyland West was a contract psychiatrist for the spy agency. He was also an expert on mind control and a prominent player in the now infamous MK Ultra program.
Oh, yeah, MK Ultra. He doesn't really touch on it, but RFK Jr.'s dad, he was killed by a dude, Sirhan, Palestinian, who doesn't really remember it. A lot of people think that the movie Manchurian Candidate came out the year before. A lot of people think that he was like the Manchurian Candidate, like they had him in the MK Ultra plan or program, and he had like some kind of a code word where he just blacked out and just started shooting, and they think he had help with shooting RFK as well. So, yeah, these motherfuckers are evil. CIA. Before that, it was OSS. They were looters, like looters in the traditional sense, like they were going into countries that we were at war with and stealing their shit, stealing the Nazis' gold. The Nazis stole all that shit too. But it's like they weren't just stealing from the Nazis; they were stealing from all of the countries they went in. Like wherever they went, they stole, including here. They steal from us regularly. They steal our freedom. They bring in these drugs. They start the crack epidemic, and then they arrest the people who use the crack that they imported. So it's like, yeah, despicable organization.
Psychiatric drugs to Americans without their knowledge. So of all the psychiatrists in the world, what in the world was this guy doing in Jack Ruby's prison cell? The media did not seem interested in finding out. In fact, the New York Times, in an extensive 1999 obituary of West, never mentioned the fact that he had worked for the CIA, much less his time in Jack Ruby's cell. Which seems relevant. So you can see why non-crazy people would wonder about what really happened, and of course many have wondered. In 1976, long forgotten, the House of Representatives impaneled a special committee to reinvestigate the JFK assassination. Their bipartisan conclusion? Jack Kennedy was almost certainly murdered as the result of a conspiracy.
People do conspire, believe it or not. Anyways, I noticed I got like a bunch of new comments. Hey Nate, that's interesting. You're interesting. Hey Nate, I like your attire. Well, I do what I can. I try to be dapper on a budget. Get the most freshness per dollar. This is a thrift flip situation. Surprisingly cheap. Probably cost a whole outfit costs less than your shoestrings, I'm assuming. Much love from Detroit, 313. Oh man, this reminds me of when I did the tour, the Nick and Nate State to State tour. I don't know how many people have been with me long enough to remember that. But yeah, when we got to the Detroit area, that was my first time being there, and it was extremely depressing. Beautiful people, but the infrastructure was shit. We were in, what was it? I think it was Lansing. It was like some place where they had potholes that could like destroy your car. And then we ended up, it was some wedding thing that we had to go to after the meetup or before the meetup. But it was like, I met like it was a kid there who brought his dad. I had no idea, people that young were watching my shit. And he was able to quote a good amount of my videos. And, I swear a lot. And I was just surprised his dad let him watch me. And also, his dad, brought him and tagged along and he watched it too. So it was flattering, but it also just made me just like, I got to keep in mind kids are watching. But, yeah, Michigan, good people. I mean, I got like this wasn't in Michigan, Ohio. I got but it's similar, you know, in poverty. My teacher, who I grew a good amount of respect for, he's a professor at the school I work at. Um, he ended up, you know, he's from there. He went back out to Ohio, and I was asking him about how it was, you know, since the train derailment, and he was like, "Man, you know, fuck them, man. You know, I'm okay with the train derailing in Ohio because they're a bunch of Trump voters." And I was like, "What the fuck kind of shit is? You're okay with your water being poisoned, your family's water being poisoned, all that shit, just so you can like poison someone who voted for Trump?" And you know, and everyone votes for Trump for different reasons. I didn't do it. I was trying to get people to vote third party because I can't vote for a Democrat either. Um, but yeah, if someone was like voting for Trump, I definitely wouldn't be, let's poison their water, you know, because Trump, at least he said things that the Democrats wouldn't say. You know, he said he would end wars. He said he would drain the swamp. He said the shit. Hillary acted like there was no swamp. Joe Biden said if you don't vote for him, you ain't black, while he was like giving eulogies at Klan members' funerals. You know, locking up millions of colored people with his crime bill that he wrote. He's the author of it. He won't give us health care, but he'll spend billions of dollars locking us up. You know, so I mean, if someone, you know, the news programs us to think there's only two choices: Trump or the Democrat, right? And there's a lot of people who just can't vote Democrat because the Democrats have spent way more time being evil than Trump. Like Hillary Clinton has a longer career than Trump, and everything that she did throughout her career has been wrong, right? And it's like she has a track record that just like is evidence for her to not be in office for people to vote against her. Um, but you know they make it seem like if you don't get behind Hillary, you're a sexist. You know, even I was told I was a sexist, even though that particular matchup, I voted for Jill Stein with the Green Party because people were saying, well, if you're not voting for Hillary, then that's a vote for Trump. Like, what? What kind of fucked up logic is that? No, I can't vote for Hillary. I don't vote for war criminals. You know, at that point, Trump wasn't even a war criminal. You know, so, you know, but anyways, that's why I say don't hate any person. Someone voted differently than you. Hate the news that is trying to get you to hate that person. Come together with the people who they tell you to hate and just do what they're doing in France and bring the overthrow. If you haven't seen the French Revolution, this is because I like to take credit for that shit. Because I released the title song for my revolution, the musical, um, right before France started this revolution, this particular revolution. This is what we need to be doing. They're burning shit down. They're going into fucking Black Rock. They're just tearing this shit down. Look at those numbers.
The place is here. The acknowledged champion is not going. Martin Luther King, Jr.
Thank you, Mr. Randolph. I would simply like to say that I think this has been one of the great days of America. And I think that...
Yeah, March on Washington, millions of people just showed up, showed out, showed support, love. Martin Luther King, very impactful person personally. I'm definitely more Malcolm X. I mean, I think he started to get to Malcolm X's positions. It was a quote, it was a speech from someone who recently passed, Harry Belafonte. He was talking about his last encounter with Martin Luther King right before he was set to organize the Poor People's March. And he said Martin Luther King. He said we did all this fighting to integrate black people into the U.S. He said we didn't realize we were integrating us into a burning establishment. Martin Luther King, very powerful person. I mean, I think towards the end he started to like catch on. That's why they had to assassinate him. But Malcolm X's approach was black nationalism, which I would just say I would just call it something else: anti-corporation nationalism. So his whole thing was like black communities should have black businesses, you know, and I would just say local communities should have locally owned business. We shouldn't have like corporations putting out locally owned anything. Like we should all that corporate welfare that we are investing in these people who are poisoning our water, air, having us go to war for their resources. Instead, we should just like funnel that directly to worker-owned businesses and exclusively to worker-owned businesses. We'll have like less tax cheats because you know the people who work at the business are the ones who are benefiting from the money. They're not going to have time to go to Jeffrey Epstein Island and you know hide their money in a tax haven, you know, and hopefully they'll have enough understanding that since they're getting their funding in part from other people's taxes, that you know they have a responsibility to actually pay their taxes and not hide them, you know. But yeah, you know when we get to like the biggest criminals, they don't think like that. They want to just steal your taxes and hide them in other countries, fund child sex trafficking rings, all that evil shit. So. Hey, Nick. I used to watch you on YouTube. Your employee evaluations were so funny. Do you have any more employee evaluations? Absolutely. NatesVlogs.net. And I'm about.
Is there anything that we haven't asked today that you could speak about that would help us help you?
Well,
NatesVlogs.net. I got new employee evaluations. I'm going to be shooting some more this weekend. I also brought back another really old character for a new series. The woke redneck Cletus is back. New rewinds. These the sites that censor me. I mean, except for Rumble. I mean, I'm streaming on there too. But I usually save these streams for the sites that have censored me. So that's like the Instas, the Facebooks, I took off Twitter so I can do a live somewhat employee evaluation. Well, just looking at the clips I was discussing earlier. Some of the stuff, this is going to be an employee evaluation. It's
Congressman, it's really just the attention and the focus on this region and show that this region matters. This region is full of resources, and I work.
And this is like the mentality of the people running our military. She thinks that the lithium in South America belongs to the U.S., not us, the taxpayers, but like the corporations that are running her. I mean, and this is why I'm weary of the transgender movement, because it's just like a way of continuing power structure from powerful white rich men like this person used to be. I'm assuming, you know, and it just reminds me of you know when South Africa had the boycott divestment movement for so long, and they realized that they couldn't sustain, the world was turning against them. A good amount of the white Afrikaners who were killing people, dehumanizing the the black population, they ended up becoming Jewish, switching to Judaism, and then moving to Israel, and then bringing that apartheid system to Israel. and then they became the victim. So if you spoke out against them, you became an anti-Semite. So if you speak out against this particular transgendered villain, you become like anti-trans. I'm pro-trans. I'm just like pro-trans people like Chelsea Manning who exposed this war criminals criminality. But yeah, this person is just very fucking disgusting. Just hear her level of entitlement of over these resources and of people in South America.
About the malign activity of our adversaries taking advantage of that, looking like they're investing when they're really extracting.
Looking like they're investing when they're really extracting, like China, right? They're setting up mutually beneficial partnerships with the people in South America and China, since like they create all the shit that we consume pretty much, as well as a good amount of countries. Like China is the #1 trading partner of a whole lot of countries, because they have like their economy is based on productivity. Our economy is based on fiction. We have a fire economy. That's finance, insurance, real estate. Right? That's when your economy is on fire, because you're not creating anything of value. Right? You're depending on, right now we've been depending on our currency just being the world reserve currency, and that our time is up. BRICS nations are creating alternatives, and it's very enticing to South American countries. So people like this trans person, they're saying that that's nefarious, that that these South American countries are doing things that benefit their people instead of just being exploited by this criminal who wants to kill them and just rob them. Because like they usually have, like Bolivia, they have nationalized lithium mines that benefit the people, but we want to coup their government so this person can just like rob them for the corporations that run her.
We have the lithium triangle in this region. 60% of the world's lithium, Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, have this. And it's taking resources away from these countries and from their people that are trying to deliver.
Taking the resources, trading the resources for other things that they want, right? Like what they want to do is take the resources forcefully, and then mow down any protesters who complain about it. That's our MO. That's what we do. Colombia, we had like the Coca-Cola massacres, where it's like we're manufacturing Coca-Cola there. The workers started saying, "Hey, we need more wages," and then Coca-Cola's board decided to just hire hitmen to just mow down anybody who was like protesting, striking, instead of just paying them a livable wage.
These democracies that are trying to deliver for their people.
You said that 60% of the lithium in the world supply of lithium comes from South America. What percentage of that 60% is actually controlled by the PRC?
I don't have the answer to that, but I could try to get that for you from one of our interagency partners.
Would you say it's a significant amount?
It's when you talk to the U.S. ambassadors for Chile and Argentina, and then the companies that are there, the aggressiveness of the PRC and the ground game that they have with the lithium is very advanced and very aggressive.
Yeah, you're very aggressive. You're very fucking disgusting, very aggressive, and just, I don't care what your pronouns are now. All I care about is your verbs. And this bitch's verbs are steal, rob, murder. just a horrible excuse for a human being. I used to keep your videos on constant replay. You gave me some great laughs in a really hard time. Well, I'm glad to help. NatesVlogs.net. I got the employee evaluation, multiple pages of employee evaluations, rewinds, and other series. So just check over there, and more stuff is coming. Yeah. If you haven't followed me on Rumble, that's where I upload my stuff through. But my the biggest back catalog of my content is probably still going to be at Odyssey, um, because it just copied everything that was on my YouTube channel and just imported it over there. However, with the Rumble, the benefit of Rumble is for me to put it over there, I have to take out the advertisements. Well, I don't have to. I choose to do it because I don't want any ads over there. So, you know, like if I did a sponsorship, sometimes I do it at the beginning of the video or the end of the video if I had a choice. But for me to post it on Rumble and then upload it on my website, I take the ad out. So that's probably the best way to watch it if you don't want that extra umpteen second ad. Yeah, I saw a lot of people mad at others if they didn't vote for Hillary. I can't believe there used to be a time in America where it is encouraged to keep your vote private. Peaceful times. Well, I mean, you have the right to peacefully vote, but like it just became like the thing that was crazy for me is if you didn't vote for the war criminal that is Hillary, you're a bad person. Even though like she is probably the worst person. Like how many people do you know can like laugh about killing someone being sodomized by a bayonet? It's like we saw, he died. LOL. We like he was trying to get away from our banking system. How dare he sodomize that bastard with a bayonet? It's just like, and she's the good one. That's like, it's mind-boggling for me. I meant Nate. Yes, Nate. I don't know. Nate on what? Really hard times. I've been following your vids since before 2012, over a decade. I had someone here for 5 years, and that's impressive. But it's always good to know that people have been with me for, you know, double-digit time. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think I've been around that long. Shit, it's been going on 20 years since I started. I mean, the first video I uploaded on YouTube was in 2006. And then I started being, you know, they started their partnership program 2008. I started the same year with that. And, you know, 2012, I was around the time I started Rewinds. And then I started employee evaluations like a year or two before, like 2010-ish. Maybe 2009. No, 2010, because like before that I had like a different, I wouldn't even call it a series. I had like, because it was like videos of me with a whiteboard and just kind of, it was like something totally different than a lot of people were accustomed to. And that's crazy within itself because, yeah, NatesVlogs, which ended up being my largest channel, it started off as a secondary channel. My primary was my picks. And then once I got a TV show through NatesVlogs, and that's when I started like focusing on that. And yeah, it just it's just, you know, I wish I still had the content so I could like look back on it, because I know it would be jarring to see some of that old stuff. You know, so I have some of the old videos, but like, you know, the stuff before employee evaluations, not many people saved it because I ended up relying on other people downloading my videos and sending them for me to re-upload them. But yeah, good times. I mean, fuck the website, fuck YouTube and the people who run it. You can Google all that shit. But I love all the viewers who were with me for so long. But I stopped watching. Well, yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's hard to keep up with all of the lost channels. So where's your website? I'll look for it. I can't wait to show my husband your old employee evaluations. NatesVlogs.net. Just NatesVlogs.net. Add a .net. Yes, rewinds were great too. Well, yes. Yeah. I appreciate it. Yeah, Simpsons had it right with that presidential election skit with the aliens. It's like we're pressured to pick the lesser of two evils. Yeah, don't look at me. I voted for Kodos. Yeah, voting. I mean, it's just that's why people say you got to vote for the lesser of two evils. I just say I can't vote for any of the top two evil candidates, especially since I can count beyond two. I can count to 3, 4, 5. Like it's just like someone has to align with my morals for me to like take the time out of my day to go and cast a vote for him. You know, JFK or RFK Jr. I mean, it would be great to cast a vote for him. I mean, I realize he will never get the Democrat nomination. I mean, if he goes third party, I'm all in. If he tells us to, get behind Joe Biden, I'm just not going to trust him. I'm going to look at him like Bernie. Yeah, Bernie is just such a disappointment. He got fucked by the Democrats, and then he's like all telling people to vote for the war criminals. Joe Biden is his friend. Like Joe Biden is Strom Thurmond's friend. I don't hang out like my friends don't hang out with Klan members. My friends don't like raise crackheads and then create bills that lock up blackheads for crack. Bruh, the suspender video was hilarious. Subspender. Oh man. Is that on NatesVlogs.net? Is that why you're? Because I haven't seen that in a minute. I don't even know what that video was called, but I remember it was subspenders. I remember the thing. If you're talking about the thing to help you sag more efficiently, that's quite trifling. But yeah, I've realized how long I've been on here, and it's getting knucking flats. I, for one, welcome our new alien overlords. I do too. That's also I think that's Futurama you're quoting, or I guess it could be Simpsons too, because I remember they both had similar. I mean, because they also had the same creator, Matt Groening, who actually, I mean, when I lived in Olympia, he had a mural of that Matt Groening, the creator of Simpsons, Futurama, other stuff. He ended up painting it because he went to school right by where I was staying, and my landlord ended up knowing who he was. Like they I don't want to say close, but they knew each other. I eat extremely healthy. I'm trying to make it to Belafonte age. Well, yeah, you gotta. I think Belafonte, he made it to his age. I mean, I'm surprised and grateful that he made it. I wish he would have, kept kicking. I mean, he's one of those people I definitely wanted to meet. But I think he had so much longevity because, he was always speaking his truth. He was always doing the damn thing. He was funding Martin Luther King. He was running with Paul Robeson. He was one of those people who was like, he was an agent for change. He was an avatar of God, a conduit for divinity. I think that keeps you young. He was all constantly in a fight. That's why it's just like, he had to stay here longer because the fight, I mean, it still continues, but he had to supercharge the next generation to continue. So we can help his vision come to fruition. That's why, and once we start having that French level of togetherness and focus on the actual enemy instead of each other, and we start running into these corporations robbing us blind, BlackRock, Federal Reserve, we start putting pressure on them. That's when we start getting results. LOL. Nah, I remember it from back in the day when you told people they didn't need one to protect themselves while in prison, but they can still knock your teeth out and get a Lucy. Yeah, or a smoothie. Yeah, smoothie. Yeah. Lucy is a cigarette or a loose booty hole. I don't know. I don't know. I don't keep up with all the terminology, but I did go way longer than expected, but I'm eternally grateful for you guys showing up, and internally as well. Um, and I'm gonna be working on some new videos, new employee evaluations. I'm gonna shoot this weekend. Probably edit throughout the week when I get to work. Um, yeah, yeah, NatesVlogs.net. I'm gonna be putting together the new page for the new series. So it's gonna be employee evaluations, multiple pages of that, multiple pages of rewinds. Um, I got the news puppets, the woke redneck, and I think it's some other stuff. But I still got to do something because I don't think I uploaded any pet peeve videos yet. But then again, some of those pet peeve videos, like I just made quick videos because I needed like a sponsored uh, um, video. And some of those, like when I'm looking at the old pet peeves, I'm like, oh yeah, this was just pretty much me trying to make a sponsorship. I was just trying to meet the criteria so I can just get paid on something. So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about some of that stuff, but I'll find some of the stuff that's not that and upload it so I can have like a pet peeves page. Cause you gotta love the alliteration. And yeah. So just stay tuned for all that. And thanks everybody for showing up. LOL, my bad. I got the words mixed up with that Chappelle show. Yes, I think so. Well, I mean, I guess it's not. I try not to take offense. You get me mixed up with Dave Chappelle. Um, Definitely one of the people who's fighting back. You know, the censorship. I mean, that's why they're trying to censor him. Haven't heard from him in a minute, but he's one of those people I would love to cross paths with. If he's an uncle of yours or something, tell him holler at me. We got to do something together. But anyways, internet, I'm about to go figure out some lunch and get to working on this other stuff. So NatesVlogs.net for the upcoming videos, and I'm gonna try to do these live streams every weekend. So come back next Saturday, and I might be on Sunday. We're gonna see, but I'm gonna switch this up because I'm gonna get into character for Cletus. So see you soon. Peace.